Today we're returning to a 25-year-old game from the golden age of arena shooters. A few months ago I discovered that not only is the game still being run on active servers, but it's still getting updates as well from a dedicated community of enthusiasts and volunteers. A decade and a half ago I used to run my own server with a subtype of the classic capture the flag game mode, only with jump pads that push you around rather than hoofing it on foot. The origins of this go back to a map called Routabulous, made in 1999 by a member of a clan called DBF. This inspired many other clans and servers to host similar maps, and it became almost a game mode in its own right. The high-speed bouncing combined with the insta-gib weapon, where every player has a laser-like gun that instantly explodes the enemy into a shower of body parts, created a fast-paced, adrenaline-fueled experience. In 2005 I started my own server and, collaborating with a bunch of other mappers at the time, released 3 map packs in a similar style. So one thing I noticed when playing through some of my older maps was the fact that some of the design wasn't great. The flow of how you ran through the maps, the AI didn't play very well. To get back into using the editor, I started tweaking some of my older maps. The first of these then was Routius. So this was probably at the time, my favourite map in terms of flow, because you've got this, if you look at where the flag is placed, you've got a platform the flag is on, you've got one level of jumping across to the other side down here, then you've got another level here, and then up above another level again. And what this gives you is a bunch of different ways to move around the map. Oops, let's just change it to normal speed. So there's a bug straight away. There's not enough spawn points, but so yeah, you start on this layer here. You go across up here. But one thing you can do, you can jump down. So if you jump onto a pad, you won't be harmed when you land. So you can jump down onto this one, and then rapidly switch between levels, like so. So again, jump down here. Move around here and so on. But I like the speed of moving around between the various places. However, there's a bit of an issue with the bots. They're not the smartest. Oh, maybe they are. Oh yeah, okay. He just took a shortcut there. All right. So yeah, but one thing I wanted to add was a few more. There's not a lot going on up here. There's a few things you can do. This is the revised version. I've changed up some of the textures a little bit. I've simplified some of the geometry. Still have some issues with the bots, but yeah. So the things I've added. So you can see down here we've got the same 3 levels, like so. But what I've added is now an extra level above, like so. You've now got the shield belt up here, and then you've got another opportunity to then basically jump down from a high platform onto this one. And so looking down, you can see there's a lot more verticality and connectivity throughout the level, so it makes it a bit more interesting than just back and forth over 3 levels, because typically what people would do would predominantly use this path in the middle and not really go anywhere else. But the bots would take a few different paths using the alternate path thing here. Basically it makes the AI pick different routes depending on which way they're going, so it mixes up a little and gives them a bit of randomness, so they're not completely predictable. Again, especially when they're taking the shortcuts like up here. So let's give it a play and just show you what's changed. So now you can spawn in different positions, so you can spawn up the top as well as down the bottom. You can still take this route. I don't know what the bots have gone. They've gone up here. Oh. Yeah, if I try and take this. So I go across here, just normal lower route. Nope, let myself up. Oh. So, right, now let's try and take a high route. So we go up here. So hopefully they will follow me. Oops. Or just shoot me out the air. Oh, that's been dropped. Right, so this one's... oh no. Whoops. So they've got the flag. So there she goes. Oh. So this is where I still need to tweak the bots. They kind of get stuck in a loop here for some reason. I don't know why. They just kind of jump between this pad and that pad. They're not moving across like they used to for some reason. It's a bit annoying. Oh. But yeah, I think it's getting there. It's a bit more dramatic than it was. You've got a lot more height to the level and a lot more routes. So I guess once humans are playing it rather than bots, it's going to be more interesting. Okay, so this isn't a route map, but this is where it began. So for my first map pack, I basically modified this level into a route map. This was a 2 versus 2 map I made back in the day. You can see there's got this sort of bridge thing, sort of somewhat facing worlds inspired. It's some kind of satellite, I don't even know what it is. Oh, a very old meme there, all your base. Only Gen Xers remember that. So anyway, yeah, this was the original level, and then a route version of this, which is pretty much the same, except now the middle section's removed. We've got route pads at the top. But the issue with this one was, if I just play it, one of the things, if I go to the basement, you can see steps, which are not great. You can get snagged up on these and fall down the crack, and it's a bit irritating. And then this as well, you jump so high you can bounce into the ceiling and stuff, and lots of collisions, or bounce into the other pad. It's a bit kind of frustrating. So the changes in this version, we've moved this front pad around a bit so it's further down so you don't smash your head when you come off. Change some collision stuff around here, and then yeah, so there's no more steps, it's just a ramp. So again, the flow feels a bit nicer. You're not getting snagged on the geometry as much, because one of the most irritating things when moving around a map, especially if it's like a Instagib, is getting caught up on stuff like walls and pillars and all that kind of stuff. So it's been made a bit smoother. That's about it. So if I play this, there's not a massive difference between this and the other one. Only really just this this bottom bar, where again there's a bit more headroom when you're landing, and some of the other stuff. For example, you can still jump into this fake moon here, get the Redeemer. Oh, but now the bots will follow you in. They're slightly smarter, so if you jump off into here, the bots will now follow you as well, and take you out. This was a Easter egg in the original one, so if you jumped off, you would then spawn at the top like so, and then get to use this hidden one above here and get the old armor. So that's it for this level. Nothing beats a hot coffee when you've got a heat wave. So in 2009, I had a bunch of maps left over that I hadn't actually finished or released. So up next are the ones I hadn't actually got round to finishing. So this was... I don't know what's going on here. I don't know why I've got all these things. So yeah, this was... I don't know why I didn't release it really. I think I just ran out of time or other stuff took over. I think I was doing remixes or something. So anyway, this was pretty much finished, I think. Just play this. Effectively, a very simple map. You're just running around, bouncing across rooftops, really. It's quite simple, quite open. Not a lot to it, really. I think I spent way too much time building these air conditioning units and trying to texture them so they looked... But not a lot to say on this one. Yeah, pretty much. This is it, really. Just a big cityscape. That's pretty much it. So this is the whole map basically. So very simple, just a lot of cubes with lights on, and then pretty much it. So I think it works. You should probably change the zone to not be water, because it doesn't really make any sense to jump into fog and then make drowning noises. But yeah, that's that. So this is the original Morpheus map. It's low gravity, so you can just kind of float around, spend a lot of time in the air. Quite a cool aesthetic. So effectively it's buildings in space for some reason, I don't know why. And then you've got a kicker. So I think this is one of the few Unreal tournament maps with an actual kicker in it. But yeah, it's I'm not a fan of the low gravity. It's a bit floaty. You can't really control where you're going. So anyway, so this is what I used as a kind of template. I took this and then I made a Morpheus Woot level. So this only really keeps the skybox, and then all this is built again from scratch. So I've tried to make it a bit more modern looking, I guess. I've added all the trims and all the sort of stuff, like, you know. So there's various different routes you can go. So low level. And if I play this, so this is the fast route. So you go across here, up here, and then to the enemy flag. You should be able to jump onto here without hurting yourself, and then back up and round. And that's your fast route. You can also, if I can find it, jump down here onto these fans to slow your descent. Then get the Redeemer, and then come back up here like so. Take out the enemy flag carrier. So yeah, this one, yeah, it's a shame I didn't release this, because this I think is the most complete and finished in terms of the prototype maps that I was working on back in 2009. But yeah, that's that pretty much. So another map inspired by the original Unreal Tournament map was Hydro Woot, which basically copies Hydro 16's kind of aesthetic. So starting again with the original Unreal Tournament map that came with the game, this was another one where I thought this would make a good Woot map. I like the sort of layout, I like the sort of weird bunker style buildings and stuff. Quite cool aesthetic. So I thought I'd have a go at remaking this. So the original one, if I just look in the backups, so this is what it started like. I don't know what I was doing here. It didn't look enough like the original one, I didn't think. A bit too complex and a bit too much stuff going on. And the flow, it didn't really feel very good with this weird sort of dip here. I was far too obsessed with doing ramp dodges than I was with actually building a decent flow in the level. So then I completely redid everything. So now it's a bit more like the original. Still mostly similar. I didn't keep all the interior stuff. So the original Hydro 16 had a bunch of internal stuff. Like the flag was within a base and everything, but in keeping with the general philosophy of the Woot map, the flag is mostly in the open. It still keeps some of this sort of little dip thing along the basement with the ramps, but I've made it a lot simpler in terms of moving around and the flow. There's some custom textures and stuff. So this looks like it should snag you, but these are all basically non-solids, so you don't get caught up on these things. It's just decoration. And again, for the bots, I couldn't quite get them doing wall jumps. I would have liked to have not had these pieces in here and just had it purely as the ramp dodge thing here, but I couldn't get the bots to do it, so that's why it's got this weird sort of double slope thing here. So a human can go up this thing here with the dodge slightly faster, and then the bots can then run up these ones instead. That's a good spawn right on the Woot pad. So there you go. So you can basically go wall dodge into here, come through here, and then get shots up here. Oops. Up here. Oop. Right. Try again. See if it doesn't blow me up. Oops. Okay, so up here, wall dodge, up here, round here, whoop, through here, oh no. Right, so wall dodge in here, let's grab this. Right. Oh, I've got the flag. Can I do it? Let's see. Right, so wall dodge up here, dodge, boom. So yeah, quite happy with this one. I like the kind of almost Mario style saturation of the colours and stuff. And I think the game flows pretty well. Again, quite a simple layout, but sometimes those are the best, right? So once again, with the inspiration from the original Unreal Tournament maps, I really like this kind of pit thing with various different routes across. So it's changed a fair bit. So instead of a pit, there's a big slime thing, big slime lake. I've tried to sort of keep with the different routes, so you can go from here to here and across here like this, so you can sort of have some crossovers and stuff. The main interesting part, I think, once you get into the flank base and around, is the internal areas where you've effectively got two ways to move across here. So I just like moving at speed through this kind of corridor thing, so if I just play it. So I just show you, so we can travel all along here, like so. Try not to get flat. So we have these routes along the side which are somewhat safer, although you can be sniped. Whoops. And then if you want to take a more risky route, you can go up here. You can go straight across into the enemy base. Oops. Like so. Then if I go this way, down here, this takes you downwards. So you can either go up from down here, or take the route across, like so. So you could potentially snipe from there, or then, you know, surprise attack from this angle, I guess. So let's see where's the enemy flag carrier. See if I can make it. Whoops. Oh god. Not quite. Ha!
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Congratulations, you are the winner.
So there you go, that's that. Noxious route. So the final map of the original prototypes is the Tetris map. So back, again, 2009 time, I thought I would make a very, very blocky Tetris inspired map. But it had some, while it was somewhat authentic, I mean, all the pieces in theory should be the correct color and shape and stuff. I did a fair bit of work replicating, I think it was the DOS version of Tetris. The flow and the layout, because I was sticking so strictly to the cube layout, it didn't really flow very well, and it snagged a lot and just was generally terrible to play. And the lighting and bright colors particularly made it very difficult to aim, you know, to see where your crosshair was on the map. Nothing was kept except for this logo thing. The whole layout is completely done from scratch. I might add some more in terms of the floating shapes. I do like the random things. When you're flying through the air from the pads, it is quite cool to have stuff floating around, but what I didn't want to do is then get bots stuck, like the AI players get stuck on these or something, so I've kept them kind of out of the way. But a very simple layout now, if I go ahead and play this. Should mention this was probably my favourite skybox, just a panning grid with different colours on either side. I thought it was quite cool. So let's see if we can get across. So quite a simple layout, still keeping the original Tetris pieces. I don't know if this is too subtle now. I mean, if it's too understated with the colours. I've tried to keep them team-based rather than, you know, the same colours as the original game. But yeah, I'm not sure. If there's some feedback on this, then yeah, perhaps keep some more authentic colours again. I don't know. Oops. But yeah, not much to say really. Fairly simple map. You've got a few different routes. A few new animated textures just to make it a bit more interesting. Probably the most ornate looking whoop pads ever with this fancy trim. What else? I haven't got any weapons. Whoops. One thing I probably should fix is there's loads of holes everywhere. I tried to make the layout a bit kind of hibbledy-pibbledy so it isn't just blocks stacked up. I mean, I wanted it to look like it's separate pieces. But the trouble is, I don't actually know how big the player characters are. But there's lots of holes you can fall into. You kind of get trapped. Which I probably need to think about how I deal with that. I don't know if you noticed, it also has the kind of Tetris theme for the music. So that's that, yeah. So this is the first completely new map. Now, the inspiration for this was, so this is called darjj 16. I liked all these cool sort of sloped walls and stuff, and then the it's got like an electric fence and stuff. I did like this kind of aesthetic. So this is what I was starting to build, and that's why it's called Woot Darjj. I probably have to come up with a new name and a new theme, but effectively this is almost like a remake of, I feel like I've unintentionally taken inspiration from this map by Mickey Blue called Wootagonal, which has the same kind of cool diagonal woot pads here. I think I've pretty much, unironically, I think I have pretty much unintentionally just completely ripped this off because it's even got the same theme and everything. But yeah, I guess similar. I haven't got the slime pit yet. I don't know what I'm going to do with that. I'm still deciding what to actually have in the gap, whether just have it a big dark hole. But yeah, so doesn't look anything like the Darjj map, but I do like the flow of this one. So there's a bit more going on in terms of the way you bounce around. If I just play it, I'll show you what I mean. So your main routes are diagonal, so you can see like a lot of the bots are travelling across this middle piece here, and then you can kind of jump down, get a flag. Whoops, try not to die. So these guys, nope, they didn't make it. So you can go up here. So this is the slow route to the flag. But you can also, if you're quick enough, double jump up here, which I'm sadly not. Try again. Oh yeah, there you go. Got a bit of a boost. So I like to try and, as much as possible when building a map, include, you know, easy routes and more challenging routes for, you know, the more seasoned players who can pull off things like, not like I can't, but someone who's better than me can probably pull off the slope dodge move. Stuff like that, really. So that's pretty much the first new map I've made in a long time. See, lots of I try and add as much opportunity as possible. So when you're using air control, if I want to steer away from where the pad aims you, you've got a few routes you can take. So if I press left hard, I can steer. Well, if I don't collide with anyone, you can steer to the other side of the map, stuff like that. That's pretty cool. But there you go. That's pretty much first new map. Well, I guess other than completely remaking the Woot Tetris map. Second new map then. So finally, this is very early stages of effectively my attempt to once again remake Wootabulous. So this is the original map that started the whole Woot phenomenon. I'm going to try as much as possible to stay true to where all the little sort of ledges and stuff would land you. I don't know where there's a player start in the sky. So this is the original layout, and what I've done is kind of started slowly but surely making new textures and kind of making it look a bit more modern. So it will, in theory, play exactly the same, with the only difference being I'm now using the SW jump pads to then make it so bots can use all the kickers. So with the original map, there wasn't bot support when it was made in 1999. There wasn't the bot friendly way of doing kickers. So that was something. When I first started my server, I worked with a guy called Switch, who then helped me code up a properly working bot supporting kicker object. I'm still in two minds whether to actually finish this or not. But yeah, this is sort of very early days. So yeah, so thanks for watching. Hopefully this was reasonably interesting, even for those that don't know what Unreal Tournament is or haven't heard of arena shooters. If you are someone who makes maps in Unreal Tournament in 2025 and you're interested in making a Woot map, then please join the forum post, which will be linked in the description. And ideally we can have something finished by September time, like a complete finished map pack. So if you are interested in building your own Woot map, there's a tutorial here on my website which shows you how to, set them up, how to build them, best practices for building the maps and so on. This link as well I'll put in there, but this still holds true, I think, in terms of when you're building a map, the kind of philosophy to stick to. So when we did the Woot competition back in 2007, the basic rules are you don't want a walkable map because it defeats the purpose of having, the kickers. So you want something like a big gap with a sort of death hole. You don't want to be able to walk from flag to flag. That's a bit boring. You want to keep it quite simple in terms of the layout, so keeping things low poly. Moving around the map, it should be fairly quick to then do a circuit from flag to flag. It shouldn't take like more than, say 10 to 15 seconds to get between the flags. Any more than that becomes a bit kind of arduous, especially if you're playing Instagib. Try to keep the team colours as bright as possible so you know exactly where you are at all times in terms of the map. Oh yeah, the one final thing is obviously keeping the flags. Oh, sorry, I know I've broken this rule recently with the Hydro Woot example, but I think it's still open enough that the flag isn't totally protected. So that's pretty much it. So I'll link these. I'll link the forum post, and then if you're interested in joining in, you can. If not, then hopefully this is reasonably interesting. Sort of a tour down the retro shoot 'em up arena shooter thing. So yeah, see you next time.